Welcome, everyone. We're going to get comfy up here, so sit back and enjoy.
I'm not an alcoholic, I promise.
I think he looks remarkably well for having traveled so far, don't you think?
I'm so sorry I'm late. You all look fantastic, though. I think I didn't get the memo, though, did I? I've obviously come in the wrong gear.
So in Drums of Autumn, Diana Gabaldon described Stephen Bonnet as well set up with a tall, powerful frame and a barrel chest. His features heavily boned, but coarsely handsome.
I mean, that bit is a lie as well. I'm definitely handsome.
She said your character is a few inches shorter than Jamie, but he was no stranger to a fight, judging by the slight crookedness of his nose and a small scar by the corner of his mouth. The small imperfections did nothing to mar the overall impression of animal magnetism. He was the sort of man who attracted women easily. Alternatingly charming, cold, vulnerable, and commanding, Stephen Bonnet is Outlander's second greatest villain.
That's a bit unfair.
So if you put the wrong actor in that role, you do not have a believable bad guy, one who walks through the nightmares of all of our main characters for several books and seasons. Our first view of Bonnet in this season's premiere episode confirmed that the right man has been hired for the job.
Thank you.
His character's quiet, honest talk with Claire about how he had always heard the sea calling him to his death, and then the way he turned around and terrorized the Frasers and casually cut Leslie's throat establish Ed Speleers as the Bonnet we've been waiting for. Now, most of you were probably not familiar with Ed when his name came out as the newest cast member.
It's a bit harsh.
But we are now. Ed was playing previously the casually vain footman Jimmy Kent. Obviously a crossover between Downton Abbey and Outlander here in the fandom. And that is a role in which he won both a Golden Globe and an Emmy. He starred in the movie Aragon with the CGI dragon, played...
Someone did see it. Perfect.
He played Edward Seymour in the miniseries Wolf Hall. Just completed a several-month run of Rain Man in London. And you received critical acclaim and popular acclaim for that role.
Yeah, it seems to be well received. Yeah, I think we finished a week ago, 10 days ago.
So you went from one thing to the other very quickly.
Yes, non-stop, yeah.
You're the father of 2 children. I've been told if I ask you about them that you light up and enjoy them very much, as most parents do, right?
I do at the moment. When they're 14, I definitely will.
Yeah. When they get 3,
at the moment,
4.
they love me and I love them. It's great, but I know there's going to come a time.
Yeah, I will warn you, as a mother of 30-year-olds, and you probably were on the other side of this, there is a time you will be extremely dumb, and then nothing changes. Then as they get older, they suddenly decide you're very smart again. So that's just something you'll have to go through.
Okay, I look forward to that.
You've been forewarned. So I guess we'll just start with, I am glad to have the chance to show you Mr. Stephen Bonnet, the character, Mr. Ed Speleers. So give us a little bit of background about yourself.
About myself?
Yeah, you're from?
I was born in a city called Chichester.
Okay.
A cathedral city down on the south coast of England, in a county called West Sussex. I grew up, I mainly grew up with my mum. She was a nurse, a naval nurse at one point, but I guess she was the sort of first person to... She was never a pushy mother in any way, but I guess she was the first person who saw I had some sort of interest in acting.
Okay.
And I think even at a really small age, like the age like 3 or 4, she sort of made sure that I was being involved in anything that was pretend to be other people or creative, or it would be like, after-school play groups or anything like that from a very early age. So I spent a lot of time with her, and it was her early interest in films. And having just done Rain, actually, it was quite interesting because one of the actors, not necessarily my favourite, but one of her favourites growing up, when I was growing up, was Tom Cruise, and that film was quite pertinent in my household. So to then go and play the Tom Cruise part in a play recently was quite an interesting throwback, going full circle. But growing up was mainly, as I say, mainly with my mum. My dad was definitely a part of that, and he was a huge figure. But I didn't grow up in a household with both of them. I come from a family where I've got two older brothers who are much older than me, so much older.
Now, did they show any interest in acting?
Acting a fool, yeah, but not especially. The next brother up, Simon, he's 10 years older than me, so he works in the music industry. But he was particularly influential in possibly at a young age showing me films I shouldn't have been watching. Nothing illegal, nothing, but things like Martin Scorsese films and. A lot of Robert De Niro at the age of 7 or 8, which is probably, I know that's questionable, isn't it? But I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. Yeah. There was influences around me in film and television and music and sport. Where will be very grateful to my parents and to my brothers is a huge encouragement to sample as many different elements of life as possible. And that, whether that be politically, culturally, going to travel, when it comes to like eating food, like everything. I grew up in a house where you were encouraged to have a keen interest in anything and everything you could, and no one expected you to sort of excel at anything, but just show an interest in it all, show an interest in as many things as possible. And I think I've got to thank my parents a lot for that, because no matter what differences you may go through as a child with your parents, I think I am grateful for them showing that sort of sense of adventure and that sense of curiosity, because I think that comes with me now, and it comes with me through work, and it comes, even like last night, I was supposed to be here yesterday, and I'm so sorry I didn't get here on time. It's not my fault.
We're just glad he's here now, right?
But I ended up having a night in Madrid. And a lot of people, I think there was a guy who was on the plane, and my same flight as me on the way over, and he was so pissed off, and he had the right hump, and the airline put us up in this hotel, and he just sat around looking sorry for himself. I thought, I'm going to go out to Madrid and see what it's all about. And, before you know it, I've been in 4 or 5 different tapas bars, met a load of locals, had a couple of beers, had a couple more glasses of wine, sampling local bits of food. I had a great time. And I think it's always like going into the unknown. I've liked that, and I think that comes back to my parents being like that. I come from also a family where my parents were a little bit older, so my mum had my brothers in a previous existence for her, and so my parents were both in their 40s when I was born, and I think that has an impact as well, because I look at myself. I was 26 when my son was born, and I'm not hot-headed with my son, but I am still at an age where I'm still learning a hell of a lot, and the world is still very new to me. And I think that although there may be a slight generation gap with me and my dad, I can see the merit in someone being older, actually, and someone having been through the mill and having experienced life. And he had traveled the world and done various things. You're able to just take the edge off when you're condoning yourself and conducting yourself with children. I think I'm still at an age where chasing fervently, trying to get hold of everything in order to achieve some sort of goal. So I think it's quite interesting that having had parents who are quite a lot older, and they just let you sit on things a little bit more.
My mother, her mother was 42 when she was born, and her mother always told her, "I'll never see you get married because I'll go blind by then." Well, it didn't happen, but there's just that idea when you're older in life that you think you won't see major milestones, I guess, if you're an older parent. But I do think you're a little more chill, because you're like, I've seen it all, you've got 2 older brothers, what can you possibly do, right?
I know, I think that also can bring, that allowed a bit of a free rein, which I think I probably took advantage of when I was a young lad. I got into trouble quite a lot at school, and I think if it had been my brothers that all hell would have had to have been paid, but I managed to. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe you were more creative.
Maybe that's what it was. I was more creative. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to put you, if you can see, we have a Jenga game here, and so we're going to try this because on a previous video, Ed had claimed to be a master of Jenga, or somewhat a master of Jenga.
I mean, I had to think of something, didn't I?
Right, you know. At least it wasn't like sword juggling or something like that could have been more
breathing
dangerous.
fire.
Right, well, yeah, breathing fire would have been. So we're gonna each play one of these as we go along and answer a question, and if it falls down, then we'll just
have to rebuild it, won't
go
we?
on to more questions. How's that, okay? Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna play easy, right there.
Oh, come on. We should have had a rule about that, shouldn't we? Stop looking.
The pressure is on here. Oh, wait, is it cheating if you touch it and then you think it doesn't move? What do you think?
Oh, no, come on. Let's. I've had a long day of travelling. Just give me come on.
Okay. We'll cut you some slack then.
I could just knock the whole thing over.
That would be an easy way to get rid of the game.
Oh, this is a very... Here we go. No problemo. See, it's actually a lot easier to play when you're really drunk.
If it falls down, we'll send it to the bar. If you all want to go play later, you can do that.
Oh, bollocks.
Okay, I think that's wonderful.
Slightly pitiful way over there somewhere. You got to get it. Hang on.
Oh, wait, yes.
That's why you can't take it from the top.
That's true. Okay, so what you're saying is I've already cheated.
Kind of, yeah. But don't worry, I'm 1-0 up, no problem. Okay.
Okay. Okay, well, we're going to play lightning round now, just to loosen things up.
Yes.
Okay. So we already have established your ability at Jenga here as we go along. Last show you binge watched.
Bloodline.
Okay.
No one in here then. Okay. Yeah.
Are you
very
familiar
good.
with it?
I'm a big Ben Mendelsohn fan, so that's not lightning. Okay, yes.
Okay. I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to go. Cat versus dog.
Dog.
And your dog's name is?
Frank.
Right. Frank accompanies you on runs lots, doesn't
He does, yeah. He does come on he's a great runner. I got him for being a marathon training partner.
Okay. What kind of a dog is Frank?
He's a border collie.
No wonder.
So he can run, I think the furthest he's ever run is 19 miles, and it's unbelievable.
Does he nip at your heels when you run like he thinks you're a sheep or
No,
anything?
he does this thing as he runs away, he barks at anything in his way, but it's not actually at anything, it's more just sheer excitement, and
Kind of like
people just tut and look at me like, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. He's absolutely nuts.
So he's like your publicity guy. He's like, Ed's coming, Ed's coming.
Publicity, he more upstages me, actually. He's just a prima donna. I mean, yeah, he's a complete diva.
And how old is he?
He's 6.
Well, he's kind of past the stage. He should have gotten over being a prima donna.
Well, I know, but I mean, some people have been saying that about me for a long time, and it hasn't.
Okay, texting or talking?
Talking. I hate texting. Sorry, Gina, that's why I didn't respond to your message.
Yeah. I'd prefer to talk too.
I talk, yeah. I hate texting.
Favorite city in the world? Probably not Madrid right now, I'm guessing.
No, Madrid is great. Favorite city in the world? London is pretty unbelievable.
Okay. We'll take your word for it. I haven't been there, but it's on my
London
list.
is quite, yeah. There's some amazing places out there, but there's something very special about London.
Salty or sweet food?
Sweet.
Sweet. What's your favorite sweet food?
Salted caramel.
Favorite junk food?
Fish and chips.
And you consider that junk because it's fried, you think?
Yeah, if you're getting battered fish with chips, you can hard push to say chips are healthy. So,
Right.
Fish and chips, mushy peas, lovely, no problem.
Mushy peas.
Oh my, have you never had a mushy pea?
No, I've never had. Anybody had mushy
mon
peas?
Dieu.
Here? Okay.
So if you have it in England, wherever you have fish and chips, but English fish and chips, you have a little polystyrene mushy peas next to it, yeah. And they are
Okay.
pretty much just mushed up peas.
Sounds like baby food.
I mean, it is.
Baby food. Okay.
It's more or less baby food. My girlfriend never understands why I order it when I have a fish and chips. My son also never understands, and he's only 4, so he doesn't. Basically, no one understands why I like mushy peas, but I love them. So.
All right, we'll go with that. That's fine. Okay, this one's a little more difficult. Theater versus television.
Performing or watching?
Ooh. Did you see that? Okay, I probably have to take off something here then. Just. Yeah, no.
Tap them a little bit with you. If you just tap them a little bit, you can give a slight.
Ooh, yeah. And this is blindsiding.
I don't want to look. I just can't look.
Okay.
Well done.
I would say performing. Television or theater?
That's not the answer. It wasn't an option, was it? I've got to say, I mean, just done what I've just done experience-wise, there's something pretty magical about acting on the stage.
Okay.
I mean, I love being in front of a camera, and I love the environment working with cameras, and this isn't quick lightning at all, but it's good because we get to talk.
Yeah. So a lot of other actors I know have said there's something about that immediate reaction from the audience.
I think that is this huge thing. I mean, it's great coming somewhere like here where you see the audience reaction face to face in the flesh, but it's in a very different realm. Like there is not. I mean, that run we just did. When you're seeing people like cry in the front in the first few rows, and people coming up to you afterwards, and as you say, that immediate reaction. The other thing is there's no fucking editor there who can come in and just change what I think they've got a fucking better idea about your performance. No one fucking change you. Sorry, pardon my language. It gets out of hand. But you've got 2 hours, and also you've got 2 hours where if something doesn't land with the audience, you've got another way of working back around it. You know where you can pick it up again. You know where you can like change the energy, and there is something very magical about it. I think, don't get me wrong, I love TV and film, and I think working with, if you're getting a chance to do, to be fair, until recently, I've not had great, fantastic characters in TV and film.
Okay.
And I think the thing about theatre is more often than not, you will possibly get more chances to play roles with more depth. I mean, I think that's starting to change for me in TV and film now, and I hope it continues. But yeah, I think that's one of the other things is quite often you'd be just coming in and doing a couple of bits here and there, and although that's great to be a part of, it's not always that fulfilling as an actor.
Okay.
Sometimes you've taken the paycheck and you've gone, I don't really know what I've done to earn that this week. I don't know. I feel like I haven't done any. I've sat around. I've drank a lot of coffee. I've tried to think myself that I'm doing a bigger deal than I am, but actually I'm just standing in front and I've got 2 lines, and then you go, well, actually that's I don't know what I've achieved. So the theatre, I think, is an all-encompassing thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll get to see you in theater a lot more also. Okay. How many languages do you speak? It doesn't have to be proficient. This is America. We've had long discussions about we're not very good at being bilingual.
Español un poquito, but no el máximo. No, yeah, I can speak Spanish a little bit. My mum lives in Spain. I can get by in French.
I can't even tell you a small bit, so yeah.
If I'm there, I can get by. Yeah.
Okay. How about, is it better to ask permission or beg forgiveness?
Don't beg forgiveness, but maybe think about getting some forgiveness. I don't know.
Okay. Just go do it.
No permission.
Do it.
No permission needed at any time. No.
Okay.
Don't put that on my gravestone.
Snapchat, Instagram, or Twitter? Which one's your favorite?
I hated all of them. I am on Instagram, so I guess I've got to say Instagram.
Okay, that works. Yes, we saw some lovely pictures of you, I believe in Sophie, at Tuxedo.
Yeah. At a Paul Smith tuxedo, yeah. Paul Smith
He looked rather dapper.
Yeah, I think people have found it strange that Sophie and I could hang out in the public, which I then found strange that people could find that strange, because we're just 2 human beings who are actors. So I was there was people on there going, what the fuck are these 2 doing together? We're actors, it's not real, you know.
Oh, so we think you're really believable in the role, and they don't see the change, maybe.
But I know. But
I was like you. I was like, hey, they're.
I mean, come on, like we're just 2 humans hanging out, right?
And you look really great in tuxedos.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, it was good. It was a good fun night.
Yeah.
Some great live music, some But classical music was very sort of Series 2 Paris, actually. Although it was at the Italian embassy, so maybe not, but there's elements of that.
Scale 1 to 10. How good are you at keeping secrets?
Depends what the secret is.
Ooh. Christmas presents.
Oh, yeah, I can do a good 9 on that. Yeah.
9,
Give
okay.
me a 9 for that one.
Let me think. Gossip that someone's told you.
Depends if I like the person or not.
We'll skip that one then. Okay. Beach or mountains?
I would always say beach, but I'm starting to have a big thing for mountains. But if I'm going on a holiday, I'll normally pick a beach holiday.
If you're Stephen Bonnet, it would be a beach, right?
Yeah, although unless he was running away from someone, if he was going up to the mountains around Sligo, possibly he might escape to the mountains. But
That would, yeah. Otherwise, I'm thinking I'm not going to see him in
beach
the
and
mountains.
mountains, or beach surrounded by mountains would be pretty good, wouldn't it?
Oh, maybe like Hawaii or
Hawaii,
okay.
yeah, I'd like to go to Hawaii.
Okay,
Series
we'll go
6,
with that
Ron,
one.
where are you?
Last album you listened to?
Last album. It's an album by a band called The Foals. I listened to it when I was running up a huge hill with Frank the other day, and I can't remember. I'd have to look it up and tell you exactly what it is. It's The Foals' latest album. There's a band called The Foals in England. It's their latest album. Very epic. Yeah.
Frank likes the music too. Then it's okay
Frank's
with him.
big into music. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
You know, it's important.
Yeah,
I
big
think.
into music. Big Rolling Stones fan. No problem.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
Double deckers.
What's a double decker?
Oh my God, you haven't lived.
I mean, I don't know mush peas now. Double decker. You're throwing these things out. Me on
Double
what?
decker. So it's a candy bar. It's chocolate, obviously. It's nougat, and it's got tiny little biscuity bits in the middle. It's oh yes, I expect a box delivered to Bristol.
Kind of sounds like a Twix or maybe a Kit Kat in the United States. Not the same.
No, it's chewier. It's a lot chewier. It's not as biscuity as a Twix. It's fantastic. It's a real winner.
Double decker. Okay.
Very sickly. Yeah.
We'll put that on the list. Mick Jagger or Freddie Mercury?
Jagger.
Okay. Yeah, that was a little bit. I kind of knew.
I mean, Mercury's voice is unbelievable, but Jagger just, yeah. I mean, that's. Yeah.
Because your favorite band is.
I mean, if I could do a Mick Jagger biopic, I'd give up acting.
You would play Mick Jagger in a Mick Jagger biopic?
I would love to. I don't think it will ever happen, but I'd love to. We can make it happen. Why don't we'll do a crowdfunder. We'll start a Kickstarter tonight.
Yeah.
I'd love to play Mick Jagger.
I think you could do the snarl. I think you could do the Mick Jagger snarl.
You reckon I could do this, Mick?
Do you have moves like Jagger?
Huh?
Do you have moves like Jagger?
What, like, yeah,
Let's
can't
see.
get no. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were doing the album. The thing is, we were doing Beggars and Banquets, 1975. I said to Keith, go fuck yourself, yeah.
I think that's believable. We need to fund that thing. Everybody, please, put money in. Rolling Stones or Led Zeppelin?
Very difficult, very difficult. I mean, I think I'm not doing the whole lightning round thing very well here, am I?
Yeah, this is a slow lightning. It's kind of a rumbling lightning.
I think overall it's Rolling Stones, but Led Zeppelin, I go through waves of sort of refinding myself with them. The depth of their music, is quite mind-blowing.
Just depends on what your mood is.
Yeah, I mean, the Stones are always like rock steady for me. They've always like, pretty much my number one band, but I guess I have got a Led Zeppelin song tattooed to me, so.
I was going to say, I had read that Ramblin' On is your favorite song?
Ramble On, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that you have a
I
tattoo
do.
for that one.
Would you like to see it? Yes. Oh, sorry. Sorry. So that's just down. You won't be able to see it from back there. It's just down there.
Okay.
Do you want to see? You can sit up close there.
Yeah, awesome. Okay.
Yeah. Did you all see that? Yeah, for like.
Okay. And do you have another tattoo?
I do. Yeah, I've got a star that's on my wrist that I got with a load of mates from school. Well, I don't often see very often, and then they all came to see the play recently, which was really nice because we hadn't seen each other we don't all get together hardly ever. I've known them, nearly 20 years. So there's a few of us got this little star.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to make.
I'm glad
new
I've got the
friends.
watch on it.
Yes.
I'm not that. I'm proud of the mates. I'm not proud of the star.
Lightning round. Someone asked me, what is the brand name of your watch?
Breitling.
Okay, because they were really loving it, so.
Oh.
And he's got it for sale, what, couple million maybe? Out
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Something like that?
I've got to put the kids through school, so if anyone wants to...
Superman or Spider-Man?
Superman.
Oh, this one. You're gonna like this one. Which fandom's better, Downton Abbey or Outlander?
Outlander, no problem.
You're gonna play to the crowd, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, you know.
You know which side the bread's
Yeah,
buttered.
exactly.
Okay, ketchup, mustard, or hot sauce?
Mustard.
Oh, okay.
French, preferably.
Favorite song to sing in the shower? Something Frank sings with you.
Jackie Wilson, Love Keeps Lifting Me Higher and Higher.
Oh, okay.
I'm not in the shower. I'm not in the shower. If I was in the shower, I would do it.
I wouldn't put it past this group for somebody to come
So
up
if
and pour
anyone can
water
organise
on
a
you.
shower, we could all have one together. No, let's not. No.
Okay,
Sorry.
so I don't know if you're aware or not, but these lovely people donated socks in your honor because show us your socks.
I mean,
you
they're a
have
bit
on tonight.
bland today for me, to be fair. They're just dots on them. They're just black with grey. I know. What a letdown. He's come all the way over from England. He can't even bring the jazzy socks with him. Yeah, I've normally got sort of
But your socks are pretty famous, so
they're more famous than me. Yeah.
the group has donated 1,390 pair of socks to a homeless shelter area here in the Quad Cities in your honor.
Wow.
They collected socks, brought them in, and had these all to give away to people here that are in need in the Quad Cities area.
Wow. That's unbelievable. Well done,
Thank
everyone.
you very much.
Thank you. Wow.
Okay, so let's get down
Are
to
they all jazzy, colourful socks, though?
the ones I donated personally were,
Good,
yes.
good.
Yeah, there were some that were warm, and then there were some that were rather stylish. So, yeah, it's important, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Can't put a price on style.
You know. So, in regard to this character that you're playing,
Which one's that?
Stephen Bonnet. He's a bad man, okay? So he's not like Jimmy Kent.
Not really, no.
It's a different kind of a role. You really haven't played a villain like this before, right?
No.
What made you try this one? And I also read where you had tried out for another role in Outlander.
Yeah.
And can you disclose that
Nope.
one? Oh, man. Oh, man, yeah. Well, is it because Ron's here and you would tell us otherwise? I see Terry back there.
I
Terry's
saw
giving you a
Terry
look.
slowing down. I thought,
Yeah.
like, what's he going to say?
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go back to the first part of the question.
Yeah.
What intrigued you about this character?
I mean, I think the first thing you asked me was why did I want to do something like this? Why was it? I mean, I've been wanting to do a role on this level for quite a long time. I didn't necessarily know it had to be in the sort of villainous mold, but it was someone I wanted to take on a part that had so much depth to him, so much versatility to him, and so much scope to play around with. I think that's one of the big things as an actor. You're looking for things to play with, and you also, for me personally, you're always trying to find ways of doing something you've never done before. I think it's really important. I think we'll probably, whatever our walks of life are, we're all trying to find new challenges and always trying to find new ways of working, and it's no different as an actor. You always want to try and find something that, well, I haven't done this before, so I need to stretch myself, otherwise I'm just going to stay at the same mark. And sometimes that takes being brave, and sometimes that, in order to do that, it means taking a step back, and that was actually one of the things I did. I actually took a while back, said no for quite a long time to things because I wanted to wait for a role like this. But what drew me in is the complexity of him. I think I was fascinated to try and understand whether this person, that whole argument between nature versus nurture, is this man born pure evil? Is that developed? Is it a case of circumstance? I don't even know if I've got to the bottom of those answers, because I don't think they're clear cut, and nor should they be. But also, I'm not a psychopath. I wouldn't do the heinous things he does, but I have to try and find a way of relating to it, and that's quite interesting in its own right, because you have to then try and find empathy with him, and you also have to find a way of, in order to make it truthful to you, you have to have some sort of connection with the character.
You have to kind of climb in his skin for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's also a lot of fun. I mean, playing those kind of people, there is a lot of fun to be had because of the challenges, but also because he has no. I mean, there's no shame to him in his head. There's no filter. There is no care about what gets in his path, as long as whatever is in the way of him, he will override it in order to achieve whatever he can. He has to come out on top. Now, how he'll come out on top, he'll do it in a number of ways, whether it be through charm, whether it be through intimidation, whether it be aggression, or a variety of tools he will use. And I just thought it was fascinating because it's all about his point of view and how he will try and win, basically. But that idea of winning is all coming from a place of survival. So I think why did I want to do the role? Because it had so much scope to him, so much depth, and the chance to try and bring that level of truth and try and convey someone honestly who could turn at any given moment. And to because for a lot of my career, people have seen me do roles like Jimmy Kent, and who are great to play, and others that are kind of in that sort of, in a certain box, and this guy is definitely not in that box. And it's good writing as well. I mean, that's the other thing, is you, as an actor, you're always looking, the first thing you have to start with is a script. It's all very well and good saying, well, this is the character you want to play, and it's like, well, great, you're fantastic, you want him to be this character, but if the writing's not there, it's no good to anybody. You can't polish a turd. So, you need good writing, and that's been there in abundance on this. And I think that's one of the great things for his character as well, is and that obviously the natural lilting Irish nature that he has about him means that the way the words, the way he gets his mouth and head around the words, is a very poetical way of speaking. And that was one of the things I worked on quite early on with. There's a dialect coach I work with who's not Caroline Crawford, who I then went on to work with Caroline, obviously because of the show. But there's a guy I work with privately who he's got a degree in linguistics. We talk at length about where these languages come from, where these dialects come from, and how, and what, and it's not just a way of speaking; it's a way of being. And I found that when I was in Ireland. Actually, I went to Sligo, because I'd never been to Ireland. I was like, well, I can't play an Irishman. I mean, not ever been there, and understand what the landscape's like, and try and understand, the interactions between people there and how they respond. And it's interesting to talk to people and their perception of what men are like as much as anything else. And seeing this amazing, like, rough and wild land, and trying to get yourself inside that headspace whilst testing out the accent after 4 or 5 pints of Guinness. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't to start with, but that was part of the fun. But I think, he's been fascinating to get into. I hope I get to do more of him, because I think there's a lot more that you could be done with him, but we'll see. I don't know. So
had you read the books prior to taking this role?
I didn't have time to read Drums of Autumn prior to taking the role, but I did read Drums of Autumn in the preparation for playing the part.
And have you read on through the rest of the books?
Not yet, no.
So you don't really know what your fate is?
No, I mean,
in a way.
I know sort of. But I found the books, the Drums of Autumn was hugely helpful for, character description. Such a rich tapestry of information there that, that initial character description, even from an actor, there's absolute gold there. Now, I'm not going to suddenly be able to make myself any taller or make myself barrel-chested like overnight, but I don't think all that. I think some of that, for me, is giving an image of someone. And Diana Gabaldon's brilliant at giving very clear images of, her imagery and description is second to none. I think she's very good at that. But I think by her doing that allows me as an actor to go, right, what can I use and how can I make that? And actually, you can try and inhabit someone like that without having to do absolutely everything that's in there, by just trying to, using what you feel I can tap into. And what does that mean? One of the things I found really interesting, and I took this on for most of the shoot, was that he had his he's described as having his fists sort of half clenched, almost always ready for a bar fight. It looks like he's always, and I thought that was an interesting notion, because what kind of person do you have to be if you're permanently, imagine if every room we walked into, we currently had our fists like half clenched as though we were looking for what was the easiest way out, who's going to be after me. And just, you start, and the more times you practice that, and the more times you start thinking like that, then you inherently just, every time you go into a room, I've actually found it recently, I'll be walking down the street and I've got my hand, I'm like, fucking, my hands are clenched. 'Cause I do it
He kind of takes you over after a while.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Someone like that does, I think.
So one of the questions that the audience had submitted was they wanted to know where you got your swagger for Bonnet. Was that something that someone worked with you? They felt like you had this swagger about you.
The physicality is something, I mean, his physicality is immensely important. I looked at a lot of rock stars. Because I think a lot of front men of rock stars, they have, don't quote me, because I'll probably never be able to go see any of their music ever again. They have psychopathic tendencies. I mean, there's something about a front man of big, like the Liam Gallagher's. You talk about Mick Jagger and all those kind of, like, I'm not saying I took directly from them, but I think I did try and play with the notion of Stephen Bonnet being like this 18th century rock star.
Hey, why not? Right?
I mean, I just did. I thought with the piracy thing and everything, and I kind of also, but then you intertwine that with the fact he also considered himself a gentleman. I thought that to me just sounds like a modern day rock star, and I think that's that sort of that confidence that they exude. I thought that's where a lot of the swaggering element came from, and also it came from working through the physicality with. There's a coach I work with on other bits, and we talked at length at understanding Stephen Bonnet's point of view of the world, and whatever I led that to believe for me, and it went from literally lying on the floor and like imagining all these different things to a point where I got up on my feet and started moving around and found a gait and found a way of operating that seemed to work.
So as this pirate, are you familiar with sailing ships? Had you had any experience on a sailing ship prior?
I have actually, yeah. I grew up, so my mum was my mum was a bit of an action woman really. She flies planes, sails boats. But so from a young age, she got me quite into sailing. She used to go, because I was packed off to boarding school, and she used to, not because my mum didn't want me, nothing like that. No, it's not. I hope. But she used to go off and deliver yachts in the summer.
Okay.
So she used to go around the Greek islands, and they'd very wealthy people would be wanting their boats moved around, and then a crew of people would go onto these sailboats and move them to another island or move them to another part of Europe. Anyway, so as a result of that, she met lots of people in the sailing world, and then she met someone and they bought a boat together. So we used to, every weekend, go sailing around the coast of England and around the islands off the south coast of England. So yeah, I grew up around boat. And actually recently, when I was about to start doing this, my brother, he just started doing a course, like a skipper, and I was like, I really want to learn how to sail again. So it's on my bucket list.
What else is on your bucket list?
I still need to jump.
Let's go with roles. What's some of your bucket list roles? Because you've already done some Shakespeare as a teenager, right?
Yeah, I'd like to do. I think doing some Shakespeare on the stage, that'd be very good. And I'd like to do Iago in Othello. That'd be pretty good. I'd like to play. I'd quite like to play Henry V because I do like the kings. I like England and the kings and all that. Films-wise, I think it's hard to say with films because until you've seen them written. So they'd never do it, but a remake. I'd like to play Lawrence of Arabia, but they'd never remake that. I don't think. Okay. Let's get a Kickstarter page set up.
Oh my. Okay, so back to Outlander.
Yes.
One of the things I believe Tobias had mentioned was Terry's costumes had added a lot to his character. He felt like when he put that costume on, a Blackjack Randall, that it was putting on the skin of this person. And so give us your insight into that. What's it like when you have an outfit, a costume for Stephen Bonnet, and you go from being Ed to Stephen Bonnet, and you put this costume on?
Costumes are hugely, I agree with Tobias immensely, they're a hugely important part for me. I mean, I'm surrounded by costumes. My partner, she's an assistant costume designer at the moment, so we're sort of around clothes and costumes all the time. And it's interesting because I've been on some jobs where you've been in for fittings and you think it's going to be really good and you think it's not going to be constricting, and then you got onto set and it's been a complete nightmare, and it's actually been quite debilitating for the performance and actually what I want to do. It wasn't like that at all on this. I absolutely adored the costumes on this. What I found interesting was because obviously in the first scene, because you don't really see Bonnet in his full get-up until the end of the first episode. So what was quite interesting is that the first costume I'm in is literally like a very basic prisoner's outfit, or the bare bones of my original outfit, and I felt really exposed.
Okay.
And it was interesting walking through our set of Wilmington in the mud, and I stupidly didn't. I don't know, I'm just a bit of an idiot. They were like, "Do you want to wear some like socks or underneath you?" Because they had these like shoes that weren't proper boots, had big holes in. I was like, "No, don't worry, I'll be fine." I like keeping it real. And like 12 hours later, as my feet are like about to fall off, like caked in dried mud, and like they sort of say, "You regretting that decision now about the socks?" They're like, no, it's fine, it's absolutely fine. But I did feel exposed with that costume because there was nothing there. And it's funny, then we come to the scenes later on, even when he's in the cart and he's talking about the sea with Claire and everything, there's a vulnerability there, and I think the costume is lending to that. Whilst later on, he's got the full regalia, it's the big, there is something to be said about how you can hold yourself very differently depending on what you're wearing. And I think the mark of a good costume designer knows that, because actually we know that in life. Like if I'm going to a friend's wedding, or if you're going to a premiere and it's like the other night, so when you feel completely differently in a suit like that to where, if I'm just lounging around in tracksuit bottoms, and we all go through that. So I think the power of clothes and what they can do to you is an incredible thing. But it's interesting, the costume designers that get it right are the ones that realize that they need to make something that looks fantastic for their own aesthetic gains, that are also true to the period or true to the story, but also are not debilitating for the actor.
Okay, let's go back to the very beginning of that episode where Stephen Bonnet is in prison, and you're talking about being very vulnerable. Now, you're working with Sam, and what's that like? I mean, you're a new guy on the show, you've got this character that's well-loved by everyone, you're trying to find an interaction, a way to play that scene. Walk people through what it's like as an actor coming in new to do something like that.
I mean, it can be tough. I mean, Downton was tough for that. I mean, everyone was very welcoming, but it was, I remember when I joined that, it was halfway through series 3, and I think the first scene I had to carry a tray of silverware down a hall, and I was so nervous that I tripped and dropped the silverware and crockery, and it smashed everywhere. So from then on in, they taped everything to a tray.
Aha!
Not forever, just for the next couple of episodes till he calmed himself down a little bit, and then once the jitters had gone, it was fine. But I think from that experience going into this, going in with a different headspace anyway, and it's obviously a very different role. You have to hit the ground running on anything. I think, we were talking earlier about the difference between theatre and film. I think actually one of the biggest differences about television, more than anything else, you have to be ready. I mean, of course, there are many takes and all the rest of it, but if you're a newcomer coming in, you don't want to be the one who's like messing around on the first take or something's gone wrong. So I think one of the things I wanted to make sure within myself is that I'd done enough work that by the time I got to work with all these people that I'd left no stone unturned, no pun intended, because I had enough confidence in what I was doing to know that I was happy with what I prepared. And I think that's really important. And I think, obviously when you get there, people like Sam is obviously an incredibly charming man, and he was very welcoming. Everyone was very welcoming. And it's actually quite a nice, it's quite a harrowing scene to start with, because obviously the way it ends, but it was quite a nice way to work in, because everything was quite everything was very soto, and it was quite a calm atmosphere. It was almost like an eerie atmosphere, I guess, because obviously Hayes is going to his death, and there's this mysterious character sitting there, dropping in sort of philosophical moments. But yeah, I think it's that set in particular is a very welcoming one, and the people there are very friendly, both sides of the camera. But yeah, I think you just got to be. I felt I just had to be on my game. I think the thing about knowing, obviously the huge following of the books and of the series, and then obviously the amount of people I've spoken to or met who say, you do you realise what you got to live up to? And with either Tobias or with Stephen Bonnet as he is in the book, it would be so easy to just bog yourself down in all the pressure of that. But I think it's just a good challenge. It's another way of. It's another chance to say, okay, well that's what you feel. I will go and make that my own then, and see what you think.
So then you go to the graveyard scene, and it steps up a little more. But there's that interaction between Claire and Stephen, where he's talking about his vulnerability and bad dreams. And so, what's that like? It was shot at night?
Yeah. In terms of what was it like in terms of the actual shooting of it?
Let's talk about the physical challenge. So, cold time of year.
Yeah, I mean, when did we do that scene? So we did it about this time last year. No, it was October. Yeah, and I'd still had next to nothing on. It was a night shoot, so night shoot in Scotland is pretty grim. I've done them before. Yeah, we're out till like 4 o'clock in the morning. But again, Kat she's a wonderful actress to work with. And I think there was a mutual respect for each other in the scenes we had with one another. I think we enjoyed working together, and I think it was evident that we were. It's just a case of listening and responding. And I think if you've got an actor that is doing that, then the fundamentals of the scene will make sense. If you've done your work previously, again, whatever I do to prepare is whatever I do to prepare, but as long as you've done that work and you are there, it is a simple case of listening and responding. I mean, the issue we did have an issue that, in terms of some of the, I think we had a time issue, because I think we had horses that were a little bit startled, and I had this whole long speech about the sea, and they kept having to reset because there was issues with the horses, and so we kept starting to run out of time. But no, it was a wonderful atmosphere, and that's set by the actors. I think that's set by the tone of the people you're working with. I think if you take from what's around you, and Kat is very giving. I think if you have a very giving actor, and it meant that you're able to give back. So no, I mean, yeah. It was a good scene to do, I felt. I'm cold, but yeah, I mean,
physically cold, right?
Physically cold, yeah.
So you get to the last scene where, or at least in the episode we see the last scene. I don't know in what order it was filmed, but
it was
very
So,
intense,
right?
the one on the boat, very intense. And now you're in full Stephen Bonnet costume, so again, you're a little less vulnerable, right? And did you have any idea when the final cut came out that it would have this music laying over the top of it? So you're like screaming at each other and playing the part.
When I saw the edit, I think I'd read somewhere that someone thought the same thing. I thought my music had popped on somewhere on my laptop. I was like, what's going on? And then it wasn't until I stopped and then rewatched it. I was like, and actually got away from that, realized it was a choice, and I was actually blown away by the choice. I thought it was really, really clever. I thought it was a really brave thing to do.
Yeah.
And the beauty of that bravery is that there was so many. No, we shot obviously that whole sequence. There was things. I think there was a line I said to Leslie as I was killing him. There was actually one idea that I played which you don't see in the edit, because I think it would have been too jarring with the music, but I sort of say very sincerely to Leslie, oh, I hope you go, if you see Hayes, please give him my regards. He was a very nice man, and, like, really sincerely. And I thought that would have been quite interesting to still see in there. But aside from that, I thought it was a really interesting move. And I think, especially as the scene crescendos, it was a really smart move. But the beauty of that is you still played out the physicality of the scene. And that was tough to do, because I felt, it's not as heinous as some of his... Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. It wasn't necessarily as heinous as maybe what he is capable of, but I felt it was very tough having to probe around in Kat's mouth, and that was it was not an easy day. And she was, again, a true professional, and again, I felt like there was a mutual respect there, that we just knew we had to get on with the work. And it was a safe environment. And I think that's one of the things whenever you're tackling, you're tackling very difficult issues, and even if they are sort of portrayed in a not, I don't want to say glamorized way, but the luxury of putting them in a series where we go back to the 1800s or 1700s, and we put great music in and around it, we can kind of distance ourselves. But I think the great thing about this show and many others is that they're not scared to shy away from really huge conflicting issues and major problems that are out there in the world that are still... Oh, hello. Had enough. I don't blame you. I'm pretty boring. I think it's one of the beauties of this show. And it was pretty tough. It's one of those things where you do a scene and everyone goes, oh, that was great. And you go, I don't know how to gauge that. I've just slit someone's throat and I've basically been molesting a woman. It's not, I don't know if you can really say great, but yeah.
Then when they say cut and let's do it again, you're like,
yeah, tricky.
Difficult. Okay. So as Stephen Bonnet progresses through, how do you feel, what's the next step with him? How is he going to deal with things from here on out? He's going to get evil, I know. But we just had this discussion about nature versus nurture and humanity, and there are some things that he does, book readers know, that later on you go, okay, well, I'll give you a break there, but really it's kind of creepy. I'm thinking about a black diamond that has to do with it. But what's the character arc of him that you see?
Well, I think it's for this series or in general?
For this series.
I know you've all read the books, but I don't know what we can really...
But he's your character. You're in
yeah. The problem with playing someone like that is I don't know how much of an arc they necessarily... They might perceive to be going on an arc, but because he's a psychopath, you don't actually know if that's a real arc. You don't really... Because he is capable of anything, and he has moments where you go, oh, actually, he's shown real sign of charm or empathy, but I still can't quite personally separate if that is still because he's constantly trying to get something's in it for him at some point. I'm thinking specifically about, there's an event that obviously happens and then there's the aftermath of that event.
Okay, I think we all probably know.
I know, but I don't feel it's good to talk about it yet because it's not officially yet. We're not. But I do think in terms of, it's a good question. Does he go? What sort of art does he have? Because I don't know if he's got one. I think he is what he is. I think he's already on a certain path, quite a destructive path. Now, whether he has moments where sort of the beast is almost tamed and there is this sort of real acts of humanity can take place. But yeah, I don't know if it's coming from the right place, if it's a genuine thing, or if it's for let's say it was because he might think he might have an heir. Now that's just purely for his own gain.
So one of the things the book discusses at different times is the future predetermined, or can it be changed by something that happens? Do you think Stephen Bonnet could have been changed by something, or it was going to be destined to be that way?
I think he was changed in the first place. I don't think he was born
psychopathic.
No. I think there was events that happened in his life. I think the it's abandonment at a young age from your mother is pretty, that's tough for anybody to handle. Not everyone becomes a psychopath. I know plenty of people that have been orphaned and they're not psychopaths, but that is a and then you look at the incident, when he's a bit older with, when he's building with and those, with those other men, and I would have thought that there would be a lot of in between as well. I think those elements, those sort of traumas, those moments, those big headline points in his life, those have shaped who he is. Can he change back? I don't know. I mean, getting ready for this role, reading a lot about psychopaths, looking at a lot of interviews with people like Ted Bundy and all that. I don't know if once people are on a certain road, how changeable they are.
Okay, we're going to go lighter. We got really deep in that, right? Maria Doyle Kennedy is in this series with you and was also in Downton Abbey.
Yep.
But have you shared any scenes together? I had seen all of Downton and I was trying to recall.
No, we've never worked together.
And you'll actually probably not have the scene with her. Although her character does not say nice things about you because she said you should be hanged. So.
I mean, he probably should be, but I'd rather we held off for a couple of years yet.
Yeah. So what do you think? That's kind of interesting to think what Jocasta and Stephen would have. I think you might have met your match in her. Jocasta's kind of a strong character.
She's pretty fiery, yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't really put up with a lot of crap, I don't think.
No, I reckon he'd have given it a good go of taking her out for a drink or something, I reckon.
That would be interesting.
I mean, I can see Stephen Bonnet on Tinder. We should set that profile up, shouldn't we?
Sure. What do you think his style? What would his woman be?
I don't think he's got a type. I think he's pretty open.
Whatever life brings him would be his style.
Whatever Danu will bring his way.
Okay.
It's all about luck
Bonnet
for him,
on
isn't it?
Tinder, just kind of right there. That
I mean,
came
you
out
never
on the field,
look. If you ever see that on Tinder, just swipe right pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, like Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
Pirate.
Exactly.
I don't like jewels.
No, thank you.
I don't mind killing people.
Exactly.
Those are loves rum. I'm not thinking that would be a good date.
No, not ideal. Take a chaperone.
Yeah. Okay. So let's change up a little bit. Marathons.
Yes.
You like to run, right?
I do.
And you've run several marathons?
I've done 4, yeah.
So, obviously Sam runs marathons. Have you ever, and Kat has run a marathon.
I run them quicker than Sam.
You run them quicker than Sam?
3:14. You don't think he's beat 3:14 yet, has he?
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, Sam has, MPC, his peakers. Are you gonna start your own group of fitness people?
He has what, sorry?
He has what?
What did you say?
He has this group he calls My Peak Fitness, My Peak...
Oh, yeah, sorry, My
you know?
Peak Fitness, sorry, yes, yeah, I've seen him do that, yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to have like Ed's group of people and then you're going to have a gang fight or...
I mean, let's just challenge him into a race, really, shouldn't I? That would be the thing to do.
Okay, well that would work.
Yeah.
Would there be
Over a
money?
marathon, because I think he's quite a big, powerful lad. I think over 100 metres he beat me, but...
Would there be money on the race as to the
For
time?
charity, no problem. We'll set up a Kickstarter page.
Would someone please tweet this to Sam right now and see what his response is? Hey, dear Sam,
Dear
Ed
Sam.
says... What's your favorite part of running?
I think it's the liberation of it, really. I actually started getting into running when I was doing a film years ago in Scotland. I needed to find a way of focusing myself a little bit more and being less hedonistic. So I took to running, and I found it a very, very freeing way to be. I've always been mad about sport. I'm a huge football fan, proper football. But I've grown up around sport, and obviously with acting, being able to do team sports it's not so easy to do all the time. So running is I just love the fact you can go anywhere in the world, and I have literally done that. As long as you've got a pair of trainers with you, just step out and you can go anywhere. And it's one of the things I love doing with my dog. I think if you're ever feeling a bit down or anything like that, it very quickly lines me up. I mean, I like the discovery of places when you go running as well. There's nothing better than being somewhere new for even if it's a couple of days. You go, right, we've just head that way. Mm-hmm. You discover so many great spots in the city or in town or out on the countryside. It's a very, I find it quite a powerful way to discover a place. And it's just you in the elements as well. I think it's, and more and more now I'm kind of veering away from road running and I'm starting to move more into sort of trail and fell running, just because it's when I was out with Frank, we were doing this leg of the tour, and we were up in Derbyshire, up in the Peak District, and we were running up these huge hills, and I felt like I was top of England, staying out this huge. Hello again. Staring down this amazing.
She's gonna run. She's gonna challenge you to a race.
Staring down this massive, beautiful vistas and valleys, and there's something quite epic about it. I'm into it. Well, I've been getting back into football a lot recently, so I haven't been running as much. But I'm due. Last marathon I did was Paris. It must be 3 years ago nearly. So I need to sign up to one soon. But I haven't got. I need to find a charity. I need to do something. So I need to find a cause. There's some good ones out here. Some good marathons out here I'd like to do.
So you're somewhat competitive about racing, about running.
I'm competitive like everything.
About everything?
Yeah, it drives my girlfriend mad.
Ah, okay.
Like Jenga. We haven't done that for ages, have we?
Oh, right. Oh, man, it's getting a little on the tippy side here, too.
Oh, wow. I've got... No problem. That's just my breathing.
Oh, that was, that's a pretty epic one right there.
I haven't put it down yet. Thank you all for having me here, by the way. I'm having a very nice time. Sorry if I sound a bit lethargic in my voice. It's just a lot of travelling, but I'm thrilled to be here. I'm glad you're all actually listening to me. It's nice to have people listen to me. Normally I've just got a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old. They've got no desire to listen to me at all, ever. Techers on that. Look at the technique.
Ooh.
Hey,
Yeah. Okay. So when you went to college, you went on a music, drama, and sports scholarship?
Yeah, so my secondary school. So I was very fortunate to go to private school. I don't come from a great deal of wealth, but my family decided whatever money they could get hold of, they would send me to private school. But in order to go to secondary school, there's no way I would have been able to unless I got a scholarship. So there was no pressure on or anything. I got this scholarship it was called an all-rounder scholarship, and it was in specifically rugby, drama, and music.
Rugby, drama, music. Okay,
but you could, basically, the all-rounder scholarship, I think anyone who went to could pick 3 skills that they felt they would excel in.
Okay, so it wasn't like you were singing on the rugby field.
No. I mean, I've done that as well.
Trying to picture that. Okay, yeah.
Drama, music, and rugby. That was what got me in.
Rugby's a little dramatic anyway to me, so maybe they go together.
It's like your football, except better.
Right, yeah.
Like a lot better.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. I mean, there's not all that padding. You're a lot more vulnerable.
Yeah, there's no helmets.
You got to be tough.
We don't stop. Yeah, and you can't throw the ball forward.
Right.
Which is. It sounds like it's not a big deal, but that's actually quite. You constantly keep if you're passing it anyway. It's very complicated. It's very complicated, but I mean, it's a brilliant game. You
got the scrum. There's those crazy things like where you're lifting the guy up.
Lineouts, yeah.
Sometimes that's a little. Yeah,
strange. That's it. I was never involved. I was always in the backs.
Okay, well, you're in the safer areas of that, maybe.
Yeah, sort of. The flashy area.
The flashy area.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite team then?
So my favourite rugby team is a club called Bath. Have you ever heard of Bath? The city, Bath, beautiful old city. Looks a bit like Edinburgh. You from Bath? You've been there? There you go, love. So I live down the road. I live in a city called Bristol, which is down the road. I left London a few years ago, but but Bath is the rugby club's right next to the uni, and it's very open pitch. But my favourite club.
Did you used to try and play rugby with your brothers?
So my oldest brother, because he's 10 years older than me, so he used to go. He used to play. I'd be about 5, he'd be 15. He'd play on his knees, and and he'd still win, and then I'd cry, and that still happens. No, but my brothers got me really into. My dad got me really into rugby. My dad kept playing rugby till he was like 54.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think the last game of rugby he played, I remember seeing it. He was standing on the touchline. He came on as a sub. He had a glass of wine on the side, a scarf, and hiking boots, and he was sent on. So he went on the pitch. So yeah, it runs in the family.
You're hoping to still be playing rugby at that age?
I haven't played rugby for years. I play a lot of football, but I haven't played rugby since I did Aragon, because I was supposed to go on a tour to Argentina on a rugby tour. This is all coming apart. And instead of doing that, I got a film. I got a job. So my dad was pretty pissed off about the whole thing. I think he took a call from LA in his little cottage in England. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. He was like, well, he's going to be able to go on the rugby tour, though, isn't he? He's still going to be able to. Like, no, he's going to be doing a $100 million movie in Eastern Europe for the next 6 months. So
that would have been Aragon?
That would have been Aragon, yeah.
Okay. And you were only 17 when you did that. Well, so 17, difficult? Was that difficult to play that role at that age? Yeah. I mean, there were 180,000 actors that tried out for that role?
Supposedly, yeah. I mean, it was an amazing way to start a career, and I'm forever grateful. But I wish, it's not a case of knowing what I know now. I was very focused on my acting at school, and I think the elements of doing a big movie, I think very quickly I got ahead of myself, and I went down a very strange path for quite a while, and I think I wasn't focused on that job, and I missed it. It was a huge opportunity potentially missed for me, because sorry, this keeps falling out my ear.
Maybe we'd go with a handheld if we could do that.
Have you got a handheld?
Yeah, could we get a handheld mic maybe, and that would be better.
That's okay.
Than that.
An amazing opportunity, because I was like, working with these like great actors, getting to like charge around on horses, living in Eastern Europe. I was, it was a great time in my life. But I just wish I'd maybe had it's not really fair for me to say anything else around me in terms of support, but I wish I'd handled things differently. I wasn't ready. I think it's, a lot of people. If I look at a lot of the actors I admire, maybe not so much in the States, but certainly back home, most of them go to drama school, and then they go on and do, maybe they do a few episodes of Top Man. Hello? Oh no. Oh. They do a couple of episodes here and there, and oh my goodness, go away. They cut their teeth much more gradually, and I think that going in at the level I went in, you've got to be a very, very particular person to be able to handle that and come out on top afterwards. Some people do, but I think it's quite a scary way to start your career.
If someone came to you and said, I've got this opportunity and I'm 17, 18 years old, would you recommend they do that, or would you say your opportunity will come later, get a little more seasoning?
No, I'd still say it, as I would never have not taken it. I think it's just a case of, it's very hard to, I would say make sure you've got good people around with you. Make sure that if your family say they want to be with you during it, that you take them up on it. But it's not that easy when you're 17, 18. And the thing is that I was already a 17, 18-year-old who thought he knew it all at school anyway. So it wasn't like I turned into something that I wasn't. It was heightened because I was given all this opportunity. No, I'd never say don't take the opportunity. I would just try and. But I also think some kids now would be more level-headed anyway, and they're slightly more grounded. But yeah, we just try and surround your people with people that you trust and people that will actually look after you.
Do you find there's times that you're concerned about when you take a role, being able to trust the people that you're working with, or trust that you have good writers,
All the time.
And you're probably judging roles by, I'm not so sure the writing's going to be good on this, and.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, I think when taking on any role, it always starts with the script, and you've got to. If you take on the role and you're not 100% happy with the script, you've got to know your reasons why you're taking on that role. Now, that could be for a whole host of reasons. It could be because you're interested in the role. It could be a director you want to work with. It could be monetary gain. It could be because you're shooting in Barbados. Whatever the reason is, you've got to be 100% satisfied with that reason. As long as you can live with that reason, it's fine. But as an actor, yeah, I think I keep sort of using the parallels with life, but trust is a huge thing in life anyway. And it's a huge thing when we're developing friendships, developing relationships, and the work relationship should be no different. So when you get lied to or you get told it's going to work a certain way, or we're not going to do, if you shoot something and then they change, they tell you then they're going to edit a different way, people aren't honest with you, then it's annoying. And it means when you go into future jobs, you have question marks over people working with people in a certain capacity, but also you have to put your faith in people. I'm not at a position of power yet where I can just, I can demand scripts to be rewritten. All the rest of it. I'm not there, and whether I ever will be, I don't know. But I think that you have to go in very open-minded, and you hope that you can. And I guess that's why also in this industry, when people find people that they like to work with, whether it be a cinematographer, whether it be a writer, whether it be a costume designer, whether it be actors, whatever the combinations are, people stick with it quite often because they know they've got a steady pair of hands. And I mean, it's like, I've in the last couple of years been setting up a production company, and our first short film has done really well. It's been winning lots of awards, and we're just about to start raising money for the next one. But in the process of that, we've already said we're basically bringing back the same crew because we've already created a family. We've already created a trust between who Barnaby, my business partner, and I, who we believe in and who we think can benefit the project, but also who we know is on the same page as us. It's incredibly important. And also, as an actor, especially as a fledgling actor, you just don't always get the chance to do that. You have to just put an immense amount of faith in other people, which is why you have to come as prepared as possible. And I think, harking back to the Aragon thing, I think that was one of the problems, that I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. Mm-hmm. And I was probably in not necessarily the right hands, which meant if I wasn't prepared and I was in the wrong hands, then not much good's going to come of it. If you're prepared and you're in the wrong hands, at least you know you can be on top of your job, I think.
Okay, well, we have just a few more minutes. You want to try another piece
bit
here?
more Jenga.
And then while you're concentrating on that, just to throw him off, think of some funny stories you can tell us of crazy things that have happened while you're doing a show. It could be any of them. Oh, geez, this is pressure on this is just ridiculous. Okay.
Funny things that happen to me.
Yeah.
I'm always rubbish anecdotes. I'm always when people go, "What's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you on set?" My dog ripped up Hugh Bonneville's carpet in his trailer once. So again, it's not even my story, it's the dog again. He's like...
Oh my, okay. Look at that, see, yeah, okay.
No problem.
I don't even know where to go from that one, honestly.
I mean, I came back from set and for some reason, they'd given me Hugh Bonneville's trailer for the day, and I was like, that's very kind of them. And I came back from doing a scene, and Frank had literally torn the whole carpet up. So that was good. They didn't dock my wages, though. That was also good. And they didn't kill him, which is also good.
Frank. Well, thank you. Can we call it a draw? Do you think that's
It's definitely a draw. I mean, it's certainly a draw.
Okay, because I'm kind of competitive too, so
We can keep going. We
would
keep going.
sit here all
I
night.
can keep answering questions if you want to keep doing that. I mean, because my anecdotes are pretty rubbish. I'm sorry. I've never been very good at that. I don't know why. I don't remember, but I suppose if you've got more questions, I'll do it.
Well, yeah, we've got a couple more lightning ones I'll ask you then.
Let's do some lightning. Lightning's quite good.
We'll see if we can do this faster.
Let's do it faster.
Can you play any musical instrument?
Yes.
And what is it?
Saxophone. But I haven't played it for about 10 years, so don't get a saxophone out. Please don't do that.
Alto or tenor?
Alto.
Oh, yeah, that's what I played.
Oh, fine. We've got two out the back. Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Do you play alto as well?
Say again.
Do you play alto as well?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Did you?
I like jazz. I played in a jazz band. Yeah.
Very good.
And now I'm going to show my age and tell you that was in the 70s. So we were like in the groovy stuff,
Oh, very
like
cool.
Maynard Ferguson, stuff like that,
So that's why I gave up the saxophone, because my teacher would only teach me classical, and I was like, I want to learn more jazzy and bluesy stuff. He's like, until you get the classical right, I'm not teaching you anything else. So I gave up. That and girls, that was the other reason I gave up.
So one more thing. If you could be in a rock band, we're going to go down the music venue. One more thing, and then Deb says we got to wrap it up here. If you could be in a rock band, what would the name of your rock band be?
The Rolling Stones.
All right, Mick. Hopefully, then we'll see you in a biopic. You know, I really liked Freddie Mercury, and I liked the Bohemian Rhapsody story.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm thinking Mick's got plenty of stories behind him.
No, but everyone wants Harry Styles to do it, I think. No.
No, okay. Okay.
What are you trying to say?
Well, we thank you for your time tonight.
No,
We're
thank
so
you.
glad
Thank
you came.
Thank you very much for having me.
We hope you get a chance to see a little bit of the Midwest.
Well, hopefully I'll see something tomorrow in the morning.
Have you ever been to the Midwest of the United States before?
I was in Kansas earlier in the year. That's Midwest. Is that Kansas? Kansas is Midwest, isn't it?
Yeah. Toto was there.
Toto was there.
Not just the musical group Toto, but also, you know, Dorothy, Toto, and the Tornadoes, yeah.
I think I prefer the musical group.
Yeah. Toto? Yeah, again, 70s, I'm just saying, okay. Okay, well, we thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
He will be in line and signing things. Kevin's going to give you some information on that. So thanks again.